We are halfway through the decade known as the 2020s as I say these words. It may actually be 2078 by the time you listen to this, so hello. I hope you're having fun in the future. For historical context, however, it's important to bank this stuff. Also, you're likely an AI robot, so what do I care? But yes, the question is who has stuck out like a wonderful thumb so far throughout this decade? So I am Simon Miller, and let's find out. And of course, remember to tell us how wrong we are in the comments below. Number 50, Serena Deeb. So I wanted to throw some under-the-radar wrestlers in there, because otherwise what are we doing? And really, Serena Deeb has been riddled with injuries throughout the decade so far, and that does suck. But anytime she is able to get a run together, she is pretty flippin' awesome. Deeb has basically spent this half-decade reminding us all she's a technician specialist, and that when someone is good at that aspect, they can make wrestling look real. It's a proper skill and not easy to pull off. She also arrived in the AEW women's division when it was still finding its feet, and really did a great job in helping to lay the foundation. Before this, she had a run with the NWA title with some great matches against Thunder Rosa and Rio, and what a person to have in your locker room. Damn it, we need a hard-hitting solid fight? No problem. Deeb's creative peak was likely as the professor in All Elite Wrestling, and her series with Shida stood out because they kicked each other's ass. Serena also carried herself as if she deserved and earned all their respect, and that was pretty cool. Even after that weird situation with Britt Baker, fans stayed on her side. They know she's got game. And sure, maybe you can call out some other people who have been more flamboyant, but sometimes you need to be shouted at in a different way. This one is for Serena Deeb. Number 49, Hikaru Shida. We just mentioned her once and now she needs to be mentioned again, because Hikaru Shida really has been great from 2020 to the end of 2024, mostly because before this time, most of us I'm sure weren't aware of her work. There's a reason she's the longest reigning AEW Women's Champion in history, and for a good while she did certainly help carry the whole division. Her consistency from 2020 to 2021 was unmatched, and the battles against Thunder Rosa, Nyla Rose and Rio just backed this up. A lot of that was without a proper audience too. It was the nightmare of the pandemic. In 2023, she did it again like Britney Spears as she became a 3-time champion after beating Toni Storm on Dynamite 200. This is where a lot of people remember that Toni Storm ruled too, so maybe Shida drew it out of her. You also have to find the late 2022 clash against Jamie Hayter as well, because that is one of the best that AEW has ever hosted. So she's like Batman really, always there waiting for Gotham to get back to the good old days, and she went and did it. Don't know what that means. Number 48, Christian Cage. He could and likely should be higher up, but I wanted to shout him out as early as possible because I know how audience retention works, and as ever, Christian Cage deserved more praise. This man is officially all-time levels. So much has happened in the last 5 years, we all forgot that Christian even coming back to the ring was incredible. He had been forced into retirement due to concussions when, boom, Cage was in AEW and he smashed it. That TNT title run was great and he was the TNA champion for a while. Soon after that, he decided to become a father figure, and yep, that meant one of the best heels throughout this entire decade. His matches have also shown how amazing he is at putting them together, and listen to every single one of his peers. They all say how great he is, and then there's a new generation of fans who agree. It's like a career resurgence, man. Christian has mentored a lot of dudes on screen as well, meaning he's using his experience. It's just awesome. Given we still have another half-decade too before 2030, Cage may even go babyface and have his wonderfully corny goodbye run, which will make it even better. Adam Copeland is going to be by his side too. It is going to rule. So really, when you do break it all down, Christian is actually one of the best to ever do it. He's just criminally been under the radar, so now we must make the noise. The dude rules. Number 47, Bayley. This entry is sort of similar, as really when you look at some of the nonsense Bayley has had to put up with, she should be in the top 10. Always been a workhorse, even if WWE didn't deem it important to put her on the posters and all that. I mean, she only helped change the WWE Women's Division. Don't worry about it. By 2020, Vince McMahon had ruined the hugger character she began in NXT, but that was okay. Bayley went heel, much to the surprise of some, and of course she smashed it. It feels to me like she has a pretty great grasp on wrestling. She was also an MVP of the Thunderdome era, as her and Sasha Banks went out of their way to make it click, and using all this pent-up rage, Bayley now had a serious edge. She was also very funny. I'm always going to ask for the return of Ding Dong Hello. When she was the SmackDown Women's Champion, she made sure to become a focal point of that brand, and her work with Damage Control was the same as above. Even before they were friends, she helped cement Io Sky and Asuka, and was also totally committed to this new character. The only negative were some injuries, but that's hardly her fault, although this is when she formed her group of death. It's fair to say it never really achieved what we hoped, but it did end with that WrestleMania 40 match against Sky. Go back and watch it now. It is a secret gem. Ultimately, Bayley is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and you can't fluke that. WWE also would have been way worse without her, so yeah. Let's give her all the noise now. She earned it. Number 46, Ricochet. If we were just going from 2024, Ricochet would be another one that would be right up there. I mean, everything he did in WWE was fine, but the man himself knew he had way more to give, and a well-timed heel turn has changed it all. Thank goodness he did join AEW. Ricochet is genuinely funny and made being bald part of his gimmick. As a man who also did that, it makes me happy. Ricky also ensured to match up his in-ring work to his gimmick, which makes him even more of a hero. And honestly, does he ever have a bad match? Nope. The major difference now is he just winds up the audience at the same time. I really don't want to disparage his time in WWE either, because it wasn't bad at all. He had that out-of-nowhere team with Braun Strowman, which was so much fun, and he was part of that 2020 Royal Rumble angle with Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. This is the only issue when we do go back to these days. The follow-up was Ricochet being crushed by Brock in Saudi Arabia. And there was no need for that. As cliched as it is to say, though, Ricochet is a human highlight reel. In a world of gifs and memes, that works. It's why it's great he gets to showcase it even more now. And if we do come back to this in 2030, just you wait, I can already see it. Number 45, Julia. So what culture doesn't just want this list to be those you're already overly familiar with in the West, but at the same time, we don't want to sneak in people just because of hype. We need to have some direct evidence, and therefore, yeah, if somebody like Julia has jumped across and opened that door, well, it makes it easier. Julia is also amazing. A short time in WWE has already underlined that she's like nobody else they have, and they know that too. Don't randomly win the US title for fun, and her tiny run in NXT was further evidence. Just had a bang with everybody, especially that Jordan Grace match. And it was terrifying, but my gosh, it stood out. If you get excited by this, you have to go back and watch all of her Stardom work too. You'll understand why everybody wanted her signature. Her breakout in 2020 as part of the Donna Del Mondo was just the start, and she had great matches with Mayu Iwatani, Tam Nakano, and Suzu Suzuki throughout 2022 and 2023. Basically was at the front and center of the promotion. I tell you again, doesn't happen by accident. There's a reason WWE eventually came calling, and apparently AEW were keen to do this as well. But yeah, that's quite the rise, so you have to include her. Plus she's really good and brings something totally unique to WWE, and that's important too. Just you wait till she is in 2026. Don't even have to wait until the end of the decade. She is going to absolutely fly and become one of the best. Number 44, Fraxium, who are another two people that bring something totally unique to WWE. This is another one where Nathan Frazier and Axiom have done such good work, I just feel like we should shout about them. And even when they got called up to the WWE main roster in 2025, they were fine. And that's crazy when you know how the company has treated similar guys in the past. That's their level. Even if it did feel like they got teamed together because NXT didn't know what else to do, they followed the golden rule, just make it work. There's been at least one period over the last couple of years where they were the best team in the world, and they're just so entertaining. Don't forget that, I'm going to be annoying. That's what wrestling is all about. I would love to see some sort of heel run, especially from Frazier, because man, he knows what he's doing with a mic in his hand. Or maybe not, that's half the charm. But go and watch the arguments him and his tag partner get into. He can be a little bit of a dickhead. It is mad because WWE usually loves using this stuff to break up duos, but do not do that. That's the whole point and the magic. They also have terrific matches too, and I would imagine have inspired so many future stars. A couple of flippy-dippy doodah guys from Europe doing just fine. So if they can do it, you can do it too. Although when it comes to Nathan Frazier, he does move around 422 miles an hour. It may be quite hard to replicate. Number 43, Liv Morgan. If you take everything from 2024 onwards, Liv Morgan is in the top 10. I think I'd put her even higher still, but it's a What Culture list, not a Simon Miller list. Likely for the best, I'd still find a way to work in the Repo Man. You can go through 2023 to 2023 and see many confused posts about Liv though, and some people even calling her a bland babyface. I mean, sure, Vince McMahon didn't treat her as he should have done, but that was a little bit too far. Kind of felt like she just needed a new direction. At the same time, it wasn't great, especially as the Riot Squad stuff sort of pigeonholed her, but that doesn't matter. As soon as she went heel and married up to Dominic Mysterio, bingo. The feud with Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, and Nia Jax were all super fun, and her tag team with Raquel Rodriguez is vastly underrated. The only problem is WWE didn't do enough with them. Her character work has been excellent too, and before her unfortunate injury in 2025, she was ready to turn good guy as and when. That's the sign of doing something right. It doesn't just happen, fans have to be into your work, and I genuinely think Liv could become an MVP of the decade because her ceiling is just so high. Just a shame there are a few blips in there, like that bizarre title run after she beat Ronda Rousey. I mean, look at her now and then think of that. Totally insane. I think we can sum it up in one sentence. Liv Morgan was worth so much more. Even Ronda came out and said, yeah, they shouldn't have done that. Absolutely stupid. Number 42, Kyle Fletcher. Another guy who will be higher when we do 2025 to the end of 2029. The last 2 years for Kyle Fletcher have been amazing. The dude has grabbed the bull by the horns and is riding it all the way to the 5-star wagon. And believe you me, I don't know what that means. He's had some modern day classics though, including those wars with Will Ospreay, and I will never get over that Spanish fly off the top of a steel cage. I still don't get how they did it and yet are walking around now. I mean, that's actually impossible. What basically happened is sort of sad too, because Aussie Open tag partner Mark Davis suffered some bad injuries, meaning Kyle had no choice but to go out alone. Because he was so ready to get it done though, he became so good, he got better every single week, and he put himself in a position where fans wanted to see him more and more. Even got the silly nickname all wrestlers need to have, I love me some of the Proto Star. Fletcher even worked on his body, which does count in this industry, and he is one of the best aspects of the Don Callis family. He basically went RPG on us, just leveled up, and he's not done. If you have the time, go watch some of the stuff from 2020, and then do some of the more stuff from right now. You will see the growth, and it's sort of what all wrestlers need to copy. Whatever the overall opinion was 5 years ago, it has all changed now. He really should have a run with the TNT title by the time you have heard this, and a World Championship reign is probably in his future too. That's when you know you've done something right. Can't just say that about anybody. And I think there's a babyface run in there too. Guy knows what he's doing, and he was really nice to me when I first broke into wrestling. Shouldn't say that, but I do every time, but it means something to me, damn it. Number 41, Drew McIntyre. This one feels unfair. I totally agree, but again, we are talking about 2020 to 2025. Sadly, the main talking point with Drew McIntyre has often been, why aren't WWE doing more with him? I absolutely agree, and even then he's still basically been the dude. The decade started great as he was the guy to win the Royal Rumble and dethrone Brock Lesnar, but poor Drew had to be the leader through the pandemic. Nobody could have done any better, but of course that hurt. We need fans in wrestling, doesn't matter who or what it is. Once he'd been moved out of that space too, we just never really properly followed up. It's why there were some rumors he may take some time off when his contract came due, when actually we got the opposite. After accidentally injuring CM Punk during the 2024 Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre took over. His promo, his matches, how he drew you into everything, and yes, that was a pun, McIntyre was on fire. It feels like 2025 is going to be good to him too, so hopefully now is the time where he really shines. No more stop-starts from creative. We all understand that Drew McIntyre has to be in the tippity top tier, and once there, he will be fine. He also needs a proper run with the title with people in the stands. If nothing else, he's earned it. You do have to include him though, because the man is always great. It's just been some of his booking that hasn't been right by his achievements. Even then though, he now carries a certain aura to him when he does walk down the aisle, and I think the crowd gets that too. So yeah, I think we have another 5 years in the man at least. He's gonna climb higher than ever. Number 40, Penta. I mean, he has had quite the rise the last 5 years. He was already super respected before all of this. Everybody wanted to wrestle Penta. The difference now is the mainstream audience knows who he is, and yep, they love him too. The peak surely had to be the 2021 All Out match where the Lucha Brothers took on the Young Bucks in what many people called the match of the year. Probably was too. This wasn't the hyperbole. No matter what metrics you're using, it is worth your time. It's truly emotional and violent. My gosh, so violent. His association with the Death Triangle saw this continue as they had great fights with FTR, the Elite, and the BCC. And sure, a lot of that was the aura Penta had. He was cool, which is probably why WWE signed him in 2024. Ever since debuting, I think we can say he's fit in effortlessly too. He's got the whole superstar aspect going for him. Fans are also buying in. And actually, when we're comparing AEW to WWE jumps, apart from Cody Rhodes, I think Penta has to be in the number 2 position when he even fought for the IC title at WrestleMania 41. And sure, he loves to spam that taunt, but that's worked too. Penta has been going 15 years as of me speaking, but it's the last 5 that have really seen him fly upwards. He's also now been a major star in the 2 biggest North American companies, Again, I think that says something. People really like Penta. Number 39, Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace actually has a similar story too. Hardcore nerds knew she ruled, and then from 2020 to 2025, she let the wider wrestling landscape know too, just improved and proved while also growing her brand. Sadly, you do need to do that. This really kicked into gear following a surprise 2024 Royal Rumble appearance, and she was only the second TNA Knockouts champion to do so after Mickie James in 2022. This one somehow felt bigger. It felt like WWE was trying to get Grace on their team. It then just so happened Jordynne had an NXT run, including some great matches with Roxanne Perez, and the crossover sort of opened the door for the TNA WWE partnership. Which sounds like it anyway. Outside of that, her TNA work was always nothing short of excellent as she feuded with Deonna Purrazzo, Masha Slamovich, Mia Yim, and others, and she even managed to figure out how to work with the very controversial Tessa Blanchard. If nothing else, her leaving TNA week to week was a negative for the promotion, and that means you're a star. She's another one that will go even higher when we do 2025 to the end of 2029, because really, at the moment, she's not put one foot wrong, is about to do that all again on a bigger stage. I mean, she hasn't even made it to the main roster as of June 2025. Just you wait. That sounds like a threat. I meant it in a positive sense. Number 38, the Usos. It feels wrong to pair them up, but this is the point. If you go over the last 5 years, the majority of their time was as a duo, and man, what a team they were. Goats, no doubt. The majority of the decade was spent with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, and really we could end it there. From the matches with the Tribal Chief to Join the Man, it kickstarted a wave of storytelling that WWE hadn't done for ages. Jimmy and Jay were a huge reason for this, and look, it allowed Jay to become Mr. Yeet and win the world title. That's incredible and deserves all the props. They also broke the WWE Tag Team title reign record before main eventing Mania 39 with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. That match is fantastic as well. If we're talking about the personality aspect, they went from fans not being able to tell them apart to becoming totally their own dudes. I can't even work out what the confusion was now. They have come a long way. In terms of moments too, which are so important to WWE, we could all go back and watch them turn their back on Roman, and of course the chemistry with Sami Zayn. That's all time stuff, and again, none of it works without these two being great. I don't care about that WrestleMania brother versus brother match either. It's not as bad as some made out, and also, one jolt in 5 years? I'll take it. Jimmy and Jay have been awesome. Number 37, Athena. From 2020 to 2022, Athena, or the former Ember Moon, was not treated right. She was absent from WWE TV for ages when she returned to NXT. That was fun as she formed an unhinged team with Shotzi, and sure, they won the tag titles. Still felt like Athena wasn't being used correctly, and then come November 2021, she was released. That was ridiculous. In many was the latter 3 years where she hit home runs, because after debuting for AEW in May 2022, things have vastly improved. It still took a while as she was on and off Dynamite a lot, but when she found herself in Ring of Honor, my gosh, let's go. Just pick any of her matches during this period, and you will find some of the most hard-hitting spectacles in all of North American wrestling, because Athena is going to kick your ass. In December, she won the women's title, and yep, she still holds that as of me talking. And that is a massive reign. We're chatting Roman Reigns levels. All the proof is in the fights with Willow Nightingale, Kira Hogan, Miyu Yashimita, Mercedes Moné, but really, Athena never misses. She has got to be one of the most consistent wrestlers going, and it led to weekly calls from fans saying, well, I think she should be back on AEW Dynamite proper. She is also helping make Billy starts in the process, so there is a lot of good here, and the overall headline is, without her, ROH would be significantly worse. I suppose in many ways she has been under the radar, but Athena always finds a way to make noise, and I suppose you can say she's just getting started in many ways too. I mean, by the end of the decade, I totally assume that we can shout her praises even louder, and you just know that's her goal as well. When she does lose that title too, it's gonna get a mega pop. Athena rules, man, and she deserves all the credit. A 36 Chad Gable. Another guy who needed the new WWE to flourish. Don't forget, in 2019, he was Shorty G. It was always going to take a while to recover, and when he was given the opportunity, my gosh, he became one of the best in-ring wrestlers in the world. It was all part of the Alpha Academy, which was also a joke before Chad was allowed to give it some credibility, but man, he did that while also becoming a proper character. That's why people compare him to Kurt Angle. He actually can do this wrestling thing from all sides. The Intercontinental story was great, although slightly disappointing due to him never winning that title, and us feeling like he should, but the underdog spirit Chad had ruled. The heel turn was well handled as well. It's just been so night and day from 2022 onwards. He's also been part of so many moments, and WWE started to soon use him as the dude to get others up and going. The Wyatt Six, the Vikingo match, pretty much the entire existence of El Grande Americano. That gimmick is weird, but hey, he made it work. Got Ludwig Kaiser back on TV. That's another tick. So Gable is just a wonderful all-rounder who actually still has more to give. He absolutely should have a championship run at some point, and I really do hope WWE eventually goes all the way. I mean, he never drops the ball, and he's just a super athlete. It's why we all agreed he had to feature in this list. He is underrated too. We should probably change that soon. Number 35, Bron Breaker. Let us not forget that Bron Breaker was in the middle of that mad time when WWE didn't know what they were doing with NXT. Black and Gold went in favor of 2.0, then the numbers were gone. I mean, you could see the infighting happening on the screen. Thankfully, WWE saw sense because Bron wasn't really that hard to figure out. Regardless what the vibe of the show was going to be, he was a powerhouse, and therefore he shall run through people. Yep, that works. Let's just turn him into a star. All his NXT work was fun, especially the tag team with Baron Corbin, and when he was called up to the main roster, I mean, don't even worry about it, he felt part of the furniture so fast. The guy is just perfect for what the company wants. WWE gets it. Breaker soon won the IC title and hung with Sami Zayn, Ricochet, and Penta, and that's why he was given the spot in Seth Rollins' group. You can't just pick anyone for a top heel role. You gotta have the props, and my gosh, Bron does. It's just a start too. He will absolutely main event WrestleMania eventually. It's also a huge plus for WWE because yeah, they can now shout the NXT system works. Bron was taken from American football to sports entertaining, and he didn't miss a beat, even though he was a little bit terrified. Talked about this on The Undertaker's podcast recently, but nobody ever picked up on that, which also sums it up. Bron Breaker just gets it, and he made it this far with a stupid name. Don't forget he's part of the Steiner family, but who even cares, man? You whack 2 Ks in his last name, and after a while, we all accepted it anyway. Number 34, Stephanie Vaquer. Don't get lost in recent times. When Stephanie Vaquer stepped into the ring with Mercedes Moné at AEW Forbidden Door 2024, people were excited. A huge reason for this was Mercedes, of course, but in terms of those making a name outside of the big American companies, yep, Stephanie was right at the top of that list. Why don't we see what happens? Surprise, surprise, the answer was an excellent match which resulted in a bidding war, with Vaquer ultimately choosing WWE. It meant she had such a high bar, and she cleared it with ease, because of course she did. She wasn't in NXT for long but made quite the noise, especially as she came in at the same time as Julia and Jordynne Grace. Due to her skill, she held her own, and it took about 79 seconds before she was the champion. We've said it already, even I'm getting bored of it, but that doesn't just happen. By 2025, she was the Women's and North American champion, and in what felt like seconds later, she was on the main roster trying to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. They grow up so fast. You absolutely have to check out her CMLL work too, because before all of this, you can see it come together, and she formed a team with Zeuxis to win the tag team titles down there, before going on to win the main belt too. Stephanie also competed for New Japan as her name value grew, and while her departure from Mexico was a bit abrupt, it doesn't take away from the success story she's become. Gonna be a top star on Raw soon too. She will also win a WWE World title. Maybe she already has. It all depends on when you're listening to this. Number 33, Kris Statlander. Let us all remember for just 1 second that when Kris Statlander started to make a name for herself in AEW, she was an alien that bopped people's noses. I love that. It was so quirky and weird. Somebody do it again. I suppose you could say her growth has matched that of the company because as All Elite Wrestling increased its match quality and seriousness, well, I think Statlander did the same. Today, she's a guaranteed for an amazing fight and is a cornerstone of that women's division. I mean, it genuinely would be worse without her. Her in-ring really is awesome too, with many show-stealing performances, and even though injuries have struck Kris, she always seems to come back better than ever. That's not easy. And do you remember that all-out match with Willow Nightingale when fans were worried about the placement on the card? Nope, no need. Who cares that came before? We're gonna smash it. Even when fans were tearing AEW's approach to female wrestling apart, nobody said shit about Statlander, and she's been entertaining us along the way. I mean, all the stuff with the best friends alone. Admittedly, her heel turn was strange, but we are talking about a total of 5 years here. You can't get everything right. What's more important is that Kris Statlander has evolved to crazy levels since 2020, and she made herself stand out in a very competitive scene. Also feels like there's more to come as well, which is exciting if nothing else. Not like she's gonna get worse, is it? 2 words, Statlander rules. Number 32, Eddie Kingston. I hate that this is a 5-year list because if you took certain chunks, Eddie Kingston would be number 1. Sadly, he got injured in early 2024 and missed a big chunk of time. Even then, he's most definitely a modern-day GOAT. If wrestling is meant to be about making you believe, bingo, that's what Kingston does. The true joy to the birth of AEW finally gave Eddie a larger platform to show the world why he is so good, and that's what he did. He never compromised either. He's just himself, and the man is so passionate about all this, you can't help but be drawn in by it. I mean, he was about to sell his wrestling boots and retire before he accepted one Cody Rhodes' open challenge for the TNT title. He's such a flippin' hero. Since then, good grief. His match with Jon Moxley at Full Gear 2020 is just a war, and the feud with CM Punk is all that wrestling ever needs to be. 2 guys hate each other, watch them go at it as we get convinced that all of this is legit. That promo off they had is still stuck in my brain. Then there's the GTA-esque walkout during Anarchy in the Arena. I don't think Eddie Kingston gets how good he is. He also has no idea wrestling is a work, which makes it better. One day, we're manifesting here, he will be the AEW World Champion. Or I hope so anyway. He somehow adds stakes to everything that he does, and he's so honest about his struggles. That makes him an even bigger babyface. I hope he continues to make me care. It's a weird thing to say. It's also true. Number 31, Jamie Hayter. Another wrestler who just got screwed by injuries, Jamie Hayter still managed to become one of AEW's most respected new talents, mostly thanks to her no-nonsense matches. She also has that banger entrance theme, and many a YouTube video that go, oh hey, here's an extended cut, and they go on for around about 3 hours. Initially introduced as a bodyguard for Britt Baker, she soon won the women's title on her own, and sort of underlined what a top-tier female performer in AEW she could be. Hayter just felt real and like every blow mattered, and her 2022 to 2023 run was filled with standout fights, including that one we've already talked about with Hikaru Shida, which, yes, many call one of the best AEW matches ever. And it's not like she had bad belts elsewhere, pretty much kicked ass across the board. What was better though, and you have to forgive me because I'm using those annoying modern words, is that Jamie's rise felt organic. Not sure if Tony Khan did have plans for her, but fans were so into her shtick they made it happen anyway. There was a time where not pushing Hayter would have been crazy, and while her 2024 comeback started slow, it wasn't long before she was having more top-draw clashes with the likes of Mercedes Moné. It also feels like there's way much more to give here, and that is pretty good. It means Jamie Hayter is nowhere near her peak, so strap in and feel the G's. Number 30, Mark Briscoe. It feels sort of horrible to talk about Mark Briscoe because, of course, if we go back to 2020, Jay Briscoe was still with us. The brothers were also having incredible matches with FTR in 2022, and if you've never seen them, change that today. They are easily some of the best tags of the modern day, and the emotion you'll get from watching them now too, sheesh. Unreal. Jay devastatingly did pass away in 2023, and no one really knew what that meant for Mark. But this guy, he essentially wanted to keep the memory alive, so he took his personal story, became a single star in AEW, and just went above and beyond. He is another dude fans want to become world champion just because they love him, and I think he's only got one gear: just do everything. He genuinely hasn't had a bad match in half a decade, and that's why he can lose so much. Nobody is ever going to turn their back on Mark. We are still waiting for that one big run, which why he does clock in at number 30, but I mean that positively. I want him to fly up this list when he does have a main event run. And hey, what happened in June 2025? MJF was like, well, I want to work with that guy. Of course he does. Why wouldn't you? Wrestling is always about connecting with the audience, however, and on that list, well, number 5 at the very least would be Mark Briscoe. He is just a super cool dude. Number 29, Elia Dragunov. Mostly because he doesn't care about his own health, or I don't think. I mean, he suffered a horrible injury because he throws himself into every little thing. Elia Dragunov is a bit mad in the best possible way. He's also had a hell of a half-decade. A force on the indies before joining NXT UK in 2020, he managed to prove not every match needed fans, as he and Walter killed each other during the pandemic. If you've never seen this, I urge you to give it a go, because they took the limitation of no crowds and threw them out the door. They didn't care, they can make it work, and a huge reason was Dragunov willingly sacrificing himself for the good of the game. They then had that rematch with an audience and raised the bar higher still. It is ridiculous, and Elia being the guy to stop the now Gunther was genuinely incredible. It was so standout, NXT proper followed, and he did not miss a beat. He also helped polish the likes of Bron Breaker and Carmelo Hayes, and on the main roster it was the same. Sheamus, no problem. LA Knight, no problem. Dominic Mysterio, no problem. Dragunov just took WWE's mid-card scene and produced Fight of the Night performances over and over again. His style wasn't just a quirk, it works, even though he must lose a part of his soul every time. It's another reason why he has to be featured here. In many ways, he shouldn't have made it this far based on the old ways, but man, we have knocked down that wall. It is very, very good, and that is me understating it. Number 28, Konosuke Teeshitta. So this one rules because it's gone from Takeshita's debut in 2021 to a major player here in 2025. If you want to talk in-ring, yep, he's right up there. The man can go, and he's been doing it in DDT and New Japan too. His major impact, I believe, is going to be over the next 5 years. Teeshitta is also a guy who can get in there with Will Ospreay and go nuts before switching up his style and punching you in the face really, really hard. He does like the Blue Thunder Bomb too much, but you can't be perfect, but the consistency is ridiculous. It's got to the point where if you like what AEW offers as a product, Teeshitta is one individual who delivers every time. Unlike Amazon, they suck. It's another person we have seen make their way up the ladder and improve in front of us, and he also won an international title. Not sure how much that meant, but it's still the backing of a company, and his performance in the 2024 G1 Climax got NJPW going mad about him as well. He's likely going to win that tournament one day. In short, he is one of AEW's best new talents, so you've got to give Teeshitta his due. He's another one that just is very, very good, and his alignment with the Don Callis family just works as well. And when he does break out as a single star, well, hold on to your horses, you fools, because we're going to be riding out of town. Number 27, Willow Nightingale. And it will be the same for Willow Nightingale. WWE knows this too. When she re-signed with AEW in 2025, the rumors were they were interested. Of course, who wouldn't be? In a world that lacks proper baby faces, Willow is right up there. I mean, she literally tells you to smile. It's also why when Nightingale gets to the ring, good grief. We've already talked about that war with Chris Statlander, but Willow actually has a list of street fights that have totally ruled and a bunch of hard-hitting matches all over the place. That was the same down in Ring of Honor too, and she just has this infectious energy. She seems really happy to be there, and that's nice. We don't use that word enough. In fact, most people go, they're too nice for pro wrestling. Absolute nonsense. She's also great at selling and getting sympathy too, and even though her NJPW Strong Women's title win in 2022 against Mercedes Moné was due to Mercedes' injury, she still took advantage of it. Helped her take some next steps. I'm pretty sure the general consensus always is let's do more with Willow, and maybe at some point build the division around her as and when it makes sense. There's just something so real about Nightingale, and in the modern day, that is so darn important. It's what fans want to see, and if we're going to be super basic like we're children, it's basically Bayley meets Samoa Joe. Super cool person who will then kill you. The best is still yet to come as well. I've said that a lot, but isn't it exciting? We are talking about the stars of tomorrow, and usually today. Number 26, Roxanne Perez. And it's the same for the rise of Roxy, who I think may actually have been born to be a professional wrestler. People forget how young she is. There's a reason she calls herself the Prodigy and gets away with it. I mean, in 2021, she won the ROH Women's title at 19. 19? That's stupid. By 2022, she was recruited into NXT, and just go and watch that. She becomes a cornerstone pretty damn quick and won the Women's Championship there in November. Great matches with Miko Satomura and Blair Davenport followed, and even when WWE tried as a heel, she figured it out. People didn't think Perez could pull it off at first. We were wrong, including me, so now she has range too. There's likely more we can do with her promos, but her Judgment Day associations have been helping with that. But if we are talking about wrestlers who popped in around 2020, and by the end of 2024 had established themselves at a super high level, yeah, that's Roxanne. WWE even trusts her to work with those who need more experience, and she's 23 years old. That doesn't happen a lot, and the next few years are going to be ridiculous. There's no way she can't get better. So it's 3 words, my friend. WrestleMania main eventer. Number 25, Rey Fenix. So personally, I think I would switch around Rey Fenix and Penta, but 1, who really cares? And 2, this is a What Culture joint list. Of course, I understand why the Masked Man is here. We've talked about the Lucha Brothers a lot, but Fenix really did shine in singles matches too. I mean, there was that run on Dynamite where he had so many must-see fights, it became what you did after the fact. Alright, our show is done. Let's go see what Rey Fenix did. The 2021 match with Kenny Omega proved this, as he and the Cleaner just went out 100 miles an hour for 20 minutes, and although this one went off the rails, his series with Jon Moxley was pretty damn good too. Rey basically proved he could work with anybody, his lucha style could be adapted, and he was so athletic, the insane things he did provided good gift content. We laugh, but that does have an impact. Phoenix also became the master of having matches on paper that seem throwaway and still having them connect with the crowd just from his fire and flair alone. Pretty sure that's a Dragon Force song. His move to WWE was evidence that he had done something right. And yes, from there it's a wait and see. It's been okay so far, but it does feel like we could do more, but that doesn't take away what he has been doing since 2020. I mean, even now, AEW would be a very different place without him. Number 24, Io Sky. Io Sky basically spent every year since 2020 going, oh yeah, that's right, I am the most consistent wrestler ever. She never has a bad match, and did that on NXT and the main roster. She is a world-class performer who deserved way more spotlight than she got for almost a decade. She was the NXT Women's Champion 5 years ago and held that for over 300 days, and man did we pack this. Sasha Banks, Candice LeRae, Toni Storm, everything she did was a reason to watch. And while the main roster damage control angle was hit and miss, how did it end? We've talked about it. Bayley and Sky having one of the best matches at WrestleMania 40. So there you go, she did it again. Jump forward to Mania 41, and her second night opener with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley is said by many to be one of the best opening matches ever. That was a stupid way for me to say that, but we can all see who the common denominator here is. Io is another one of these folk who can be thrown into "why are we doing this in the first place" scenarios, and then leave everybody flabbergasted. So she is a talented wrestler, and WWE finally letting performers talk in their native language has been a huge plus too. Maybe you don't have any idea what she's saying, but you know she's ready for war, and when push comes to shove, she is gonna kick your ass. Number 23, FTR. Are Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler the best tag team of modern times? Yes, or at the very least, they're top 3. That is no fluke. And since arriving in AEW in 2020, they have just raised their game over and over. Their feud with Young Bucks is oddly divisive, but if you watch all 3 of those matches, I am pretty sure you will see the greatness. The clash of styles and ethos was used to fuel the story, and that's when you know you're dealing with the best. It wasn't a hindrance or an obstacle, it was just more ammo for the cannon. It's organized chaos. We mentioned the series with the Briscoes, which is just 5-star classics all over the place, and while some strange booking left them in no man's land for a while, eventually they had that 2025 heel turn, and everybody has appreciated and been reminded how good Cash and Dax are. Even before that though, they have basically flown the flag for tag team wrestling for 5 years and continue to tell you, that's right, look how great it can be. Now they've always been right, but you can't just say those words, you have to show it as well, and that is what they have done so damn consistently, and they have kept focused the entire time. So Cash and Dax really just do get it, and man do they love what they do. I really hope the AEW tag team division does get back to where it once was, but either way, FTR will be having bangers all of the time. I actually don't think they know how to do anything else. Number 22, Rhea Ripley. One day, Rhea Ripley will likely be one of the biggest stars in all of WWE. If you don't see the noise outside of wrestling, you're just not looking. It's huge. It's fair to say that WWE over the last 5 years hasn't always jumped on that, as said by Rhea herself on the Chris Van Vliet show. Vince McMahon had no clue how to use her, and her main roster start was a little bit difficult. She had that match with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 36, which of course was the event with no fans. We sort of had to go back to the drawing board. It also went a bit wibbly-wobbly as she was a starting member of the OG Judgment Day, but as soon as Edge was out and Rhea cozied up to Dominic Mysterio, forget about it. That was a rocket ship nobody was going to stop. Ripley embraced the whole mammy on top thing and started having great matches all over the place, and soon was one of the most recognizable names on the roster. The crowd reaction told you that. She even got another go against Charlotte at WrestleMania 39, which is one of the best WWE women's matches ever, and everything since 2022 has been reshaping what a female star in the world's biggest company can be. That is huge, man. I mean, the amount of doors she's opening, next level we are talking. I didn't mean to go Yoda. It also helped launch Dominic and Liv Morgan too, so of course she eventually became a babyface. Did anything change then either? Nope, fans just bought in harder, and Rhea is still only 28. That means in 2030 she will be 33. We're not ready, man. Just you wait. Number 21, Seth Rollins. He could be higher. Likely should be higher, we've talked about it. Forget the number though, because Seth Rollins is WWE's MVP this decade. The amount of bullets this man took to keep the machine rolling is an absolute warrior. If you do want to call him the glue that held the main event scene together, I'd take that as well. Although 2020 of course saw him having to reinvent himself. He'd been murked by that Hell in a Cell with The Fiend, and it wasn't really until 2022 when he became Mr. OTT Dress Sense that we settled back into things. That was fine though. He was also the guy to welcome Cody Rhodes back to WWE, and that whole series was so good, and he had excellent matches with Edge and Matt Riddle too. Everybody forgets about that. 2023 tasked him with getting a whole new world title over, and he sorted that as well. And WrestleMania 40 weekend should be called the Seth Rollins 2-day extravaganza. That man just went out of his way to ensure every story went off without a hitch. And he had a bad knee. I've often said Rollins' biggest strength and weakness is how skilled he is at adapting to anything, because it means when he gets to go high he flies, but when he has to sort out nonsense, well, it's still nonsense. He constantly reminds audiences why he has been at the top of the card for basically a decade though. He is another modern-day GOAT. I mean, imagine WWE without him. Or don't. The truth is, it wouldn't have been as good. Number 20, Sami Zayn. Few wrestlers in WWE history have ever done so much with so little. Not sure that made sense, but Sami Zayn is the king of being given a situation and returning gold. I'm not entirely sure most of us realize how good at this wrestling thing he is. Let's just walk the timeline. The Thunderdome era saw him use his entertainment instincts to keep everything amusing, and of course that led to the Bloodline angle. That whole shebang does not work without the sympathetic and lovable Sami, who was also the catalyst to get Roman Reigns more hated and turn Jey Uso into the believable abused cousin. Zayn essentially was hugely responsible for the best story WWE has told in years. Then there was that Elimination Chamber match with the Tribal Chief in 2023, where a lot of people said Sami should win the championship. Don't forget, we were only a month out from WrestleMania. Who cares? Crown this man. It didn't happen, and instead Zayn went and did it with Gunther in the IC title instead, but that was just wonderful. One of the best moments of Mania 40, which is also true of Mania 39 and that great tag team title win with Kevin Owens, which was also true of Mania 38, where Sami got a classic out of a match with Johnny Knoxville. I mean, this dude, he's a master. His 2020 and 2021 were fine at best, mostly because of how the old WWE regime saw him, but everything else has just flown so high. You gotta sing his praises. It was all-time work. It does feel like he's gonna become the world champion eventually. Let's just put a stamp on it. What an amazing career. Number 19, Orange Cassidy. Because he is the ultimate success story. So much nonsense was thrown at the gimmick over the years, and yet Orange Cassidy took his opportunity in AEW and basically became their workhorse. Or work fruit. The man is brilliant. He's also totally original, which is the type of character All Elite Wrestling needed, especially because certain fans needed it too. There was a large portion of the audience who wanted something totally unique, and a wrestler who basically couldn't be bothered was the answer. It's genius too, by the way. Use how the audience sees the industry today and create something that is basically completely meta. The highlight was always when somebody went too far and Cassidy would go from weak kicks to full-on tornado DDTs, and I think he actually did have great matches with everyone. Plus that run with the international title made that belt mean something. He proved that being unique still matters, and the way he was embraced was evidence. He soon became the cornerstone of AEW in many ways, and I once saw somebody compare him to how The Undertaker existed in WWE, and I got it. You're all mad now, I don't mean it literally. It's a different video for a different day. He has had a hell of a 5 years though, and easily smashed through any barrier that was keeping him back before. I'm just gonna say it, my friends, a proper legend. AEW needed him. Number 18, the Young Bucks. Somebody just yelled at this entry, but you'll never convince me otherwise. The Young Bucks changed professional wrestling, and over the last 5 years have basically been incredible. Even before 2020, they were already in this conversation, but the formation of AEW meant they now got to do their act on a major stage. But yeah, just prove themselves time and time again. Their double team maneuvers are still totally unique and inspired a whole generation of new wrestlers, and they basically set the bar for all of this. Somebody told me they were lazy the other day. You gotta be watching a different Matthew and Nicholas. In any of these 5 years, the Bucks could have had the best match on the show, and all that stuff they did with Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. It was compelling TV, especially as it married up to the Being the Elite series. Everything they did felt so new and fresh, and everyone who worked with them had their best performances too. I don't believe that's an accident. And sure, some of the story stuff didn't land, and the strange injuring of Tony Khan was just forgotten about, but I would always rather a promotion tried and then pivoted than stick to the norm and gets really boring. I would assume they are done changing the wrestling world for now, but they are still fantastic. The amount of great moments they've left over the last 5 years as baby faces and then heels too. They are one of a kind, and I really hope we don't get to a point where they have to retire before we do appreciate them. We should start sending them love right now. Number 17, Roman Reigns. So Roman is another one. He could be higher, of course he could. He has been the face of WWE for this half-decade. He's also not been around that much, and I don't begrudge him that. We'd all get that deal if we could, and he earned it. The Tribal Chief also became the character in the main event of the WWE always wanted him to be. He is generational. It all did start in 2020 with the long overdue heel turn and the teaming of Paul Heyman. From there, we've got the Bloodline, and we've talked about this already. That is all-time stuff filled with moments of madness that made fans for life all over the place. Roman raised his game the entire time as well. This emotionally manipulative asshole was a wonderful part of WWE TV. I mean, the amount of memes this man dropped. And sure, Reigns' matches relied heavily on drama, but I love it. Why do what everybody else does? We've already got that. And it didn't always reach the heights intended, but when it did click, the head of the table was having the time of his life with the crowd lapping up this ridiculousness. Due to his aura, there's the word, he was also able to make bouts with Cody Rhodes, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, and LA Knight just feel a little bit more whimsical than they would have done otherwise. And yeah, him and Cody, that thing, that's gonna be a forever feud. So he is the dude, and he always will be the dude, and he shall enter all of the Hall of Fames as soon as he wants to, even if it's just based on these 5 years alone. If he hadn't vanished into the abyss in late 2023 and 2024, he'd be #1 as well. That's just the way it goes. But this is an arbitrary list, man. Roman Reigns is one of the best to ever do it. Number 16, Hangman Adam Page. The OG AEW character, and another reason as to why All Elite Wrestling being born was the best thing for wrestling. We needed someone like Hangman Adam Page, and yeah, if you want to call him the main player of the promotion, sure, works for me. Throughout these 5 years, we saw him go from fragile, emotional man to AEW World Champion, and then right back the other way through a heel turn, where he tried to kill Swerve Strickland. The cowboy has done a lot, and the whole time he has resonated with the fans, especially ones who felt a bit lost with wrestling. Now they had this whole nuanced gimmick to pick apart, even if sometimes we overdid it. Page always has banger matches too, as he takes his warm exterior and enters insane mode, and even when Jon Moxley was at his most unhinged, Adam was his best opponent. Matched him beat for beat. He also did the same with Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, and Swerve, of course. Before long, he was back at the top, looking for another world championship. That felt needed, as his first one was a bit weird due to where the promotion was at the time, but the major takeaway was how he stayed in this unique position of intrigue. Fans always wanted to see what he was going to do, even if he was burning down a house. Somehow, even when he did that, there was a touch of vulnerability to all this. The toughness on top has just made him one of those guys that could go anywhere, and he would likely be over too. So the man made it, and he's more popular now than ever. That is quite a thing to do in 5 years. Number 15, Damian Priest. So when I interviewed Punishment Martinez back in 2018 at StarCast before the first ever All In, everybody knew he had the goods. I knew he had the goods, Phil, who was recording the interview, knew he had the goods, all the fans knew he had the goods, but for some reason nobody could see a path for him. Not totally sure if he felt the same way, but now we jump forward to the end of 2024, and me talking to you in the middle of 2025, and flub me sideways, the man who became Damian Priest is an absolute beast. That kind of rhymes, so it must be true. I mean, everything from the Bad Bunny match to cashing in his money in the bank to his assistance with the Judgment Days turned him into a massive star. And now most of the audience watches Damo and just goes, this dude's really cool. I'd love to have a beer with him. And while you may laugh at that, it's super important when you're going to be a babyface. It basically means you've connected. He also has that wonderful relationship with Rhea Ripley, which I think people enjoy even away from the ring. And without Damian Priest, we may not have got all of that stuff with R-Truth. And I tell you, that still makes me laugh out loud. He's also somebody that will win any more championships before he does retire, and while age shouldn't be a thing, the fact that he is accomplishing all of this when he is 41 years old, well man, that should be an inspiration to the whole entire world. Don't worry about that nonsense, just do your thing, and you too will live your dream. I love Damian Priest. I think he's awesome, and long may it continue. Number 14, Becky Lynch. I think people forget how major Becky Lynch was to WWE when she first exploded. That, of course, was 2018. But ever since, anything the man has done has been superstar levels. She has been the foundation for ages. At the start of the decade, she took some time off to have a child before returning in 2021 as Big Time Bex. Vince McMahon had decided she should be a heel, but dude, we overthought this. Sure, in terms of what the fans wanted, it was dumb, but Becky actually was hilarious. This was like Steve Austin 20 years prior. Lynch was allowed to show range, which as a performer leveled her up further. Also watched the work. Every time, so good. 2022 to 2024 put her back in the babyface mix, and she was the MVP of both Raw and SmackDown. Becky bounced around due to this and even went down to NXT. Look at Tiffany Stratton and Lyra Valkyria and how they benefited. Even when Lynch won the women's title to much feedback in 2024, she did more for that belt than most. Anything with Bianca Belair or Rhea Ripley is worth your time, and there's hard-hitting bounce with Liv Morgan too. Let's just be honest here. It always feels like Lynch is trying to elevate others. That's so important in wrestling and should be shouted out. We have seen occasions where WWE has struggled to book its women, but never Becky Lynch. The truth is she is just too good. And another one who will go straight into a Hall of Fame. The last 5 years have only cemented that. Number 13, Bianca Belair. As is Bianca Belair, the most organic babyface ever. It's crazy how more people don't see this. She also rules. There's no way you can use the EST name otherwise. I would say her big main roster break was the 2021 Royal Rumble, when after just 1 year at the top, she won the damn thing. Felt like a lot of people realized in that moment how good she was, and she main evented night 1 of WrestleMania 37. That's that match with Sasha Banks too. Off that alone, she should be here. It's just so damn good. From there, she also had solid reigns as Raw and SmackDown Women's Champ and hung with the best. Becky, Bayley, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair, and her trump card was the fact she was never dull. Blair also had something going into these, and come 2024, she was tasked with getting Jade Cargill up and running. It's basically a coming-of-age story. So she's great basically, and someone that any company in the world would want. Even in the build to that Mania 41 three-way, she showed she could play a much harsher version of her character too. Bianca also has so much more she can do from this point. She's a top-tier performer and surely will only embrace that even more, even if she does go heel. I mean, it's another one. Would you want her on your roster if you were starting a promotion? You absolutely would. Number 12, CM Punk. Given that he is going to be the most divisive person in this list, number 15 felt right because let's face it, any number, wherever we put him, 50% go nuts, 50% also go nuts in the other direction. Bruce Wayne had it right. Nobody has defined this era as much as CM Punk though, and his ability to evoke genuine emotion is incredible. The man will forever be an anomaly, which is likely what makes him such a great wrestler. Blurs the line, makes you feel something. After 7 years away though, Punk did return to AEW in one of the best comebacks ever, and his work there ruled. Not only did it help business-wise, but feuds with Eddie Kingston, MJF and Samoa Joe were just great to watch. Felt like we had entered some weird new but old world. I mean, go back and check out the 2022 dog collar match at Revolution for proof. You want some gravitas in your wrestling? No problem. And yes, things soon fell apart badly, and that wasn't good for anybody. As fascinating as it was to watch unfold, I really would have rather it gone the other way, and the endgame was leaving AEW before making an even bigger surprising return to WWE. It didn't start great due to a very unfortunate tricep injury, but then Brittany did it again. Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, old school promos, winding up John Cena. Anything Punk did felt massive. That's even more important in 2025 WWE because everybody else feels so polished, not CM, and especially not during 2024. He remains the outlier and totally unpredictable, and if we are talking about weekly television, that's exactly what you want. I have no qualms in calling him an all-timer, even if you don't like him. The man has done too much. Let's just break it down. He's just really, really good at his job. Number 11, Toni Storm. This sort of sums up how great Toni Storm has been in AEW. Her WWE tenure was mad. Like, what were we thinking? One of the last things we saw happen with her was late 2021, when Charlotte Flair threw a pie in her face. Toni then left, and to this day we do not know what happened. Based on the booking though, yeah, it wasn't ideal. It's why there was intrigue when she got to All Elite Wrestling, and at first, it was about getting back to the old Storm we'd seen on the Indies and NXT UK. It clicked and she became the women's champion while ensuring everyone she worked with was given a step up too. You should go and watch this period, because there's another time people forget she was very, very good. Of course, it was nothing compared to her becoming the timeless one, and since then, my gosh, it's ridiculous. It's one of the all-time reinventions, even though it is nuts. Toni quite literally started to act like she was from the golden age of Hollywood. Because why not? You gotta do something. The commitment to the role was second to none though, and proved if you want to get something over, go 100% all in. And after a while, it just felt like that's who she was. A movie star from the 50s. The presentation leveled up at the same time, and before long, Storm had found a way to marry the character with the wrestling, and yeah, it's brilliant to be honest. A wonderful reminder what sports entertainment can be, and she was impossible to ignore. Even if her matches sucked, it still would have been good, but the matches did not suck. Toni ticked every box and got more over in the process. The melodrama and feud with Mariah May is some of AEW's best ever offers. The words "watch for the shoe" will be forever written into wrestling lore as well, and Storm could genuinely play this gimmick from now until the end of time. That was a pun, but I don't think anybody will mind. And if she ever does make the jump back to WWE, we have to find a way that she brings this with her too. It just wouldn't be the same otherwise. Number 10, Kevin Owens, the modern day GOAT. A man I'm pretty sure is number 3 on my best ever list. Kevin Owens is a perfect pro wrestler. I really mean it, and thank goodness he got to show that over the last 5 years. Really, it's how involved he always is that makes him stand out, because whether we're talking main eventer, tag team guy, wildcard catalyst promo dude, or somebody needed to yell at you from a car, well, let's go get Kevin Owens. He'll do a good job. He's an essential player. The truth is that WWE still very much has its wrestling style, and whereas others have quite rightfully shifted, Owens just found a way to get his stuff to work no matter what the system was. His sheer commitment to everything is commendable too, and no matter what he was given, he came out stronger the other side. I mean, the Elias Ezekiel stuff was the last 5 years, and why is it so good? Starts with K, ends with Owens. We've now heard it from his mouth too that he doesn't like insulting the fans and would actually fight to ensure nonsense didn't get through the cracks if he was involved, and his interactions with the bloodline are as important as anybody else's. He really did like fighting Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, but then there's that tag team title win at Mania 39. It's the third time I've talked about that, but it really is very special. Kevin is also the master of long-term storytelling, even if it's just a wink and a nod here and there. Plus, he can make you laugh out loud. The man is so entertaining, and the feud with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton in 2024 and 2025 are as good as anybody could have hoped. He was also the guy chosen to face Steve Austin in his Mania 38 comeback match. That does not just happen. As I talk to you, he is awaiting neck surgery, and who knows what comes after that, so no more sitting around. Owens is one of the best to ever do it, and somebody give him his flowers. An absolutely tremendous professional wrestler. Number 9, Kenny Omega. The term generational talent gets thrown around a lot. Kenny Omega is this and more. There's no one else like him and never will be again. That dude is special. A founding father of AEW who has also dubbed himself the best bout machine, it sort of felt like early All Elite Wrestling was using the energy he brought to New Japan to define itself. That was smart. An Omega match does feel like a unique event. I genuinely think some of his best ever work happens during the early parts of All Elite Wrestling, and again, Hangman Adam Page alliance and subsequent story. Go back and watch this if you have forgotten. It is next level wrestling that shifts gears when Ken goes heel and wins the title. Man was just off his nut and was a joy to watch. It was great weekly TV. The very real health scare was no fun at all, but it's one of those moments where the comeback proved that Omega wasn't normal. His matches were still ridiculous, and a reminder that nobody can do what Kenny does. During all of this, there was the Will Ospreay series too, when the man got dropped on his head and caused a ruckus. I just think you can pick any year from 2020, and if Omega is performing, you are getting your money's worth, but also something totally individual. He doesn't wrestle like anybody else, and the depth is deep, whatever that means, but he is an all-timer, and I'm sorry. Everything he has done over the last 5 years, well, it's just convinced me all of that is true. Number 8, Bryan Danielson. And this man is right at the top of that tree as well. In fact, many would call him the best bell-to-bell wrestler ever, and I'm not going to argue that with you. These 5 years have also been super kind to him because his best 3 WW matches also came during this period, and 2 of those were during the pandemic. It's Bryan Danielson for you. He loved that he got to do something new and had bangers with AJ Styles in front of no one, and then again with Roman Reigns in the flipping Thunderdome. The man makes no sense. The WrestleMania 37 main event is also way better than people give it credit for, and anything genuinely in AEW rules. You should start with the Kenny Omega Arthur Ashe Stadium match because my gosh, if you could bottle that feeling, you'd be drunk all the time. In many ways, that awful forced first retirement made him better as he was just going to make up for lost time. So when he did join AEW and had wrestling freedom, well, he went insane. The Zack Sabre fights, the Will Ospreay matches, Okada, Swerve Strickland, MJF. He brought something new all of the time, and why did he stop? A neck injury. That's the American Dragon, wrestled until his body literally said no more. Tony Khan even said he would trust the creative keys to the kingdom to Danielson. He's so damn smart. And yeah, he is a legendary performer who got to where he did through sheer talent alone. And hard work, of course, but Bryan wasn't even that bothered. He just wanted to wrestle, and thank goodness for that. He was so damn ridiculously good. Number 7, Jon Moxley. In many ways, Jon Moxley is AEW. His arrival in 2019 gave it a massive shot on the arm, and the way he rid himself of Dean Ambrose to help lead the charge was incredible. To many people, this is the guy. He, of course, was the dude to lead All Elite Wrestling through the pandemic as the world champion, and if there are any questions, they went out the window. He took his character and no-nonsense approach and had a ton of satisfying title defenses, also seemed to do something different every single week. He refused to fade away after he lost the belt, and let's not pretend the Blackpool Combat Club wasn't awesome. It gave Mox a chance to make himself even more nuts, and sure, he got super into bloody matches, but they were never bad. The fan base loved him for it too. Go read some forums around 2023. Thank goodness for Jon. The Death Riders split opinion, which reminded us you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain, but he rode that out too. Before the big match with Hangman Adam Page at All Out, they were an excellent set of assholes. While of course you always want wrestlers to be happy and healthy, even his short absence to work on personal issues made him more beloved. He had propped us up through the no-fan era, now we were going to do the same for him. It was special, and so is Moxley. I mean, go and look what he did in WWE in 2019 and compare that to the last 5 years. It's night and day, man. Can't argue he didn't help shape the very existence of what pro wrestling is today. It was pretty impressive. Number 6, MJF. Let's remind ourselves this list is about the last 5 years, and therefore MJF has got to be spoken about. From 2018's All In, where I assume some fans weren't aware of him too now, he is one of the biggest stars going. The rise has been crazy. If you were to call Hangman Adam Page the hero of the piece for the last half-decade, Maxwell Jacob Friedman is the villain, and the dedication to the character is incredible. He also merges the old school with the new, and let's use his words, generational talent. Sort of feels like when all is said and done, he shall be right. Imagine AEW without him. Doesn't work. His mic skills is what sent him to the moon and a persona that was easy to hate, so much so before long audiences started to love him. Happens every time. He also drew numbers and yes, had great professional wrestling matches. There was this weird fake criticism thrown at MJF sometimes and he wasn't able to. It's nonsense, and the Bryan Danielson Iron Man War is an all-timer. 5 stars and then some. It all took him to the AEW World Championship and I do not even care. The stuff with Adam Cole was wonderful. It strayed occasionally, but it did put Freeman in babyface territory and yeah, it worked. And basically that's been the story since 2020. Some proper crazy moments in there too. Singing with Chris Jericho, for example. Insane. There's also bangers against Kenny Omega and Samoa Joe, and yes, the CM Punk feud fits in here too. It's some of the best stuff of modern times. I mean, you do have to have the skills to back it up, and this is just the start as well, given that Maxwell is only 30 years old. The future is ridiculously bright. I may have to put on sunglasses. He is going to become one of those people you talk about forever. Number 5, Darby Allin. And it's a very similar tale when it comes to Darby Allin. He took the last half-decade to rise through the ranks and become a star, then he climbed Mount Everest too. You could joke about that, but man, Darby is never going to regret how he approached life. Quite literally does it all. He's also a sign that you can take a changing industry and make it work for you, because Allen's talked about this. WWE was never going to sign a guy like him, which is why AEW is so important. He embraces opportunity too, because essentially he put his body on the line to such a degree, most fans were like, well, how could I even hate this guy? He's mad, but damn it, he's committed. And somebody once called him a warped version of Sean Waltman for the modern age. And I get it. That's a huge compliment as well. The relationship with Sting meant he had an emotional sideline too, and that retirement match at Revolution, Darby nearly killed himself to ensure that Steve Borden could walk off into the sunset satisfied. This fake dad, fake son dynamic totally ticked the boxes. There was always something you could buy into. Every match Darby has done as well has been spectacular, given how willing he is to throw himself around. And there's a reason he was part of that AEW 4-pillar chant. It told the audience All Elite Wrestling was going to do something different. He will most definitely win the AEW World title one day, and it felt like a moment because he's right. Darby Allin is not a big dude, and wrestling wouldn't have been interested in him certainly during a specific era. Not now, he's over like Rover and always will be, the only pressing concern being how his body does hold up. Got a feeling Darby doesn't care though, and he certainly doesn't need me speaking for him. Number 4, Gunther. So we go back to the idea that we are looking at a 5-year journey here, and Gunther was Walter until 2022. Quite the shift. It sort of does underline it because during that 2020 period, the dude was just a man in NXT UK. His wars with Elia Dragunov we've already discussed, but it's how he approaches wrestling that has allowed him to stand out. He's slow, methodical, will chop you half to death. The key is he is totally believable and offers something different that's on any card. It's incredible when you remember he once told Triple H, I don't want to be on the main roster proper because I'm happy staying at home. The change in physique helped too because it helped sort of announce a new version had arrived, and look what he has done for titles. His 666-day Intercontinental Championship run helped finally make people care about this belt again, and then he did the same with the World Heavyweight title. It just felt right. Of course this guy was a champion. Think of all those matches with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus too, and then compare them to different ones with the likes of Ricochet and Chad Gable. Gunther can do it all. He is just a masterclass in pacing and knowing when to hit the go button. He's a Thunderbird. Some people used to say his promo game let him down too. Yeah, right. Go and put on his verbal attacks towards Goldberg. Sounded like he was gonna kill him. He even helped Jey Uso take it to the Tiffany top by being murked at WrestleMania 41. And I don't think he's peaked yet. In fact, I think 2025 to 2029 is going to be even better. That man is just getting started, and we should all be very intimidated about this. Number 3, Will Ospreay. In terms of what Will Ospreay does in the ring, he is the best. Nobody comes close, and he has refined what this industry is for an entire generation. That's incredible and didn't just happen. You gotta be special. The real change for Ospreay over the last 5 years is him embracing the heavyweight ways of New Japan in order to move himself up the card. He did that with contemporary masterpieces against Okada, Shingo Takagi, and Kenny Omega, and if you have time, watch all 3 back-to-back. Don't tell me William can't be varied in what he does. They are totally different. If you can get through the Omega battles without thinking one of them is gonna die, well, watch again, you didn't pay enough attention. His move to AEW presented a new challenge now too, because American TV was the goal. Yes, he's been more than fine. His totally raw promo style meant the audience believed every single word he said. And look, he never has a bad match, ever. It's not a thing. And the only asset he will add to his game over the next 5 years is an AEW World Championship. I suppose Will has been so good and remained so over, Tony Khan knows he can take his time. He seems to be correct. Ospreay just gets more and more popular. He's fitted in like a glove. And no, I'm not saying you have to like his style either, that's totally your choice, but to act like he didn't change this game, that's mad. Ospreay is one of a kind, and we should all appreciate him now. The dude did it, and everything would be a lot worse without him. Number 2, Swerve Strickland. The biggest difference between Swerve Strickland and the other entries on this list is because in 2020, nobody foresaw this. His WWE NXT run in 2021 was just a bit odd, because he was there, but he didn't do much. Even then, he still got more opportunities than he did on the main roster with Hit Row, and that was totally bizarre, and then he got released. Felt like the next step was going to make or break him. I think Strickland thought the same. For after arriving in AEW in 2022, he was fine. That feels unfair, as he always did good work, but Swerve wasn't introduced as the guy or thrown into the main event scene from day one. Instead, it was a tag team with Keith Lee that marked the first round, and go back and watch some of this. It's so good, and we did not appreciate it at the time. Sort of get it. We were waiting for the match after the breakup, and it never actually happened. Throughout all this, though, he did find his voice and his swagger, and moreover, his work became excellent. The AEW fanbase jumped all over that when we do get to the feud with Hangman Adam Page. That's exactly what Swerve needed. He took this opportunity and a lot of blood and never looked back. And sure, a lot of this was disgusting, but I think that's the point. The two had such good chemistry, and Strickland came across like a total loon that everybody was invested. If nothing else, Swerve was just stupidly cool, and while there were critics of the Texas Deathmatch at Full Gear 2023, it did its job. Strickland became the Terminator. A world title run followed, and the ending of that proved once again what a player he is. Basically turned mini heel to ensure Bryan Danielson got his moment at All In 2024, and you should all go back and watch Strickland in that match. His performance is incredible. The best part about him is it's hard to tell someone specifically why he ruled. He just does, and it's not like he was handed the ball. He just took it when it was presented to him, and he did what he had to do. He is now a true main eventer in every sense of the word, and he has achieved all of this decade. He has got to be up there, which is why he's slammed in at number 2. Number 1, Cody Rhodes. I mean, who else? I think we have all forgotten just what Cody Rhodes did achieve in the last 5 years. The end result, if you want the quick answer, is he became the guy. Not just in WWE, he was the dude at the top of the North American scene. That's crazy when you figure everything in. His return to WWE in 2022 felt historic, and I can vouch for that because I was there. Just something special in the air, and the fact he had his AEW presentation, I mean, we are not in Toto anymore, Kansas. Rhodes hadn't just come back to be part of the shuffle either, because he was anointed as the top star, and let us not overlook his AEW work before all this. Sure, the fans certainly made it more interesting, but the American Nightmare did some great things. Set himself on fire, that mad cut a ladder bump, the TNT title run. For whatever reason, the atmosphere got funny, so in his words, he left the territory. But actually, he couldn't have timed this any better. By the time he dethroned Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, WWE was already hotter than it had been at decades, but we gave Cody the ball, and surprise, surprise, the numbers kept on going up. He was also a top merch mover, a consistent ratings draw, and a babyface who didn't get booed. Do you know how rare that is? If you don't, I'll tell you right now, very, very rare. Even the more hardcore cities warmed towards Cody, and he put a smile on their face. And if you want to call him a creative visionary, you can, plus he is an emotional storyteller. You'll be yelling at your YouTube screens now, and that's totally fine, but I actually think it's true. Essentially, Cody Rhodes is everything WWE spent 20 years pretending it couldn't have again, and now we have to reset the clock. I'm sure everybody jumping from AEW would love to do what Cody did, but he may be one of a kind. And in terms of wrestlers over the last 5 years, he is smack bang at number 1. Now listen, there are going to be some wrestlers we have left out of this list which are totally unfair, but that's why you have to drop a comment below and tell us so we can start shouting their praises. You can also like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Check the video on the screen for another list that will tell you all you do need to know. But otherwise, have a tremendous day, my friends, and I will speak to you again very soon.